Freddie Tuilangi was on the wing. I caught it, come down, and he hit me so hard. I slid, I think, a good 15 metres backwards. And I remember him going, "Welcome to the Premiership," like that. And I thought, I don't know if this is for me. I initially didn't get picked until I got a phone call that I ignored because guys were rumouring around the club saying, "Del, you might get a call up." Toby Booth had to come in and say, "Mate, you need to pick that call up. That's Martin Johnson." So I ended up ringing him back. He said, "You've got 15 minutes to get down and we'll start training." There's a few other stuff when I was younger, and I said, like, undeservedly, some cheap stuff that I did that, when I look back at what were you doing? What were you thinking? I always say to people I was probably, over sometimes too far, because I was always up for it. And sometimes, I got it wrong. Hi, I'm Delon Armitage, and this is my Rugby Life.
Hi Delon, welcome to Rugby Lives. How's life treating you?
Yeah, great. Look at me. Bit of salt and pepper, keeping the hair growing, like most of you guys who seem to lose it when you retire. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
In fairness, most of us never had hair at the beginning, I think, but not everyone's got the face to carry it off. So, So we're in southwest London now, we're at the Cabbage Patch in Twickenham. You're not a million miles away from here. Are you southwest London still?
Yeah, no, I was pretty fortunate when I played. I decided to buy a house in the area in Sunbury because I thought I'd be at London Irish for the rest of my life, never move. So yeah, ended up buying a house there. I've kept it, even though I moved abroad to play and whatever I've done, I've managed to keep it as well. Because it did cost me quite a lot. So to still have it now, I'm impressed with myself.
Your responsibility.
That's it.
Well, I suppose you've got to take the small wins.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I wasn't probably the best with money growing up. Going into London Irish, into a professional environment, playing rugby, probably wasn't a dream of mine growing up to play rugby at a high level. Probably football or cricket was my top sports. So when I did get a little bit of money, I put it away into, I was taught at a young age, put it into property. I'm not sure that's the best idea anymore, but yeah, I did, and ended up keeping it.
Oh, there you go. So now you've got financial advice that you're giving out to people, saying, look,
look at me.
This is the Armitage way.
Look at me.
So we're going to go right back. So it's interesting. We're looking back at the story, and obviously we've chatted before about it as well, but we kind of don't talk very much about when you very first started. When you're born in Trinidad and your two brothers were there, but you got a lot of memories from back there because it's not like you were just a toddler there. You were there for a few years.
Yeah, I do remember growing up there. I think I left, I don't want to make up, around 7, 8. I left Trinidad. So I do have memories of it. We lived in a very big house with my uncles, aunties, brothers together. And, my mum was travelling back and forth from England with a new husband, my stepdad. So I do have memories of nothing about rugby. So if we're going to go, it's all about cricket. So it's cricket. I now see memes on videos. If you haven't played cricket in the streets with bins and you have to move it every time a car comes through, you've not lived. And that's exactly what it was in Trinidad. We're playing cricket all day. And then it's almost get home before the parents finish work. You're supposed to be indoors certain hours of the day. And so I just remember probably where I got my quickness and elusiveness to running through the forest to get us home as quick as possible. So we could always anyway bank on Steph being last. He wasn't the quickest at that time. But yeah, really enjoyed those days.
But you say big house, but you were also talking number, aren't you? There's a lot of people living
A lot
together.
of people. A lot of people. I think at one stage I remember we were sharing a double bed, the three of us, my old brother, myself and Steph, sleeping sideways. It wasn't tough. I enjoyed it. I'm quite a cozy person, like a cuddle. So it didn't worry me. And again, it was one of those, the memories I have is always every day was fun. Get exploring into the forest. You see different things. It was always warm. It was lovely weather. You're always with your brothers. And then the school was probably about a 5-minute walk. So yeah, my days of remembering that was, it was always, I felt I was always happy. Even when it rained, there was always things to do. And it was warm rain. So it was never, we had 2 seasons, rainy season and hot season. So there was nothing to be unhappy about.
And it was quite traditional in the way your mum was kind of over in the UK for work as well. So you kind of brought up quite a lot by your grandparents.
Yeah, that's right. We do still call my grandmother, call her mommy, and so yeah, she was the boss in the house, and everything was very strict, a lot stricter than I've ever had it, or my kids, or anyone else over there. But yeah, it's the way we were brought up. Everyone kind of had food together. We all as a group, we went out together, carnival, whatever it was. It was just that real family environment. A lot of us love sports, so we'd always have those sports day, but it was more athletics and stuff. So really, it was nice just having that big family around you. You got 7 uncles. I even had an uncle that was younger than me, so it was interesting what I should call him uncle or by his name. So but yeah, no, it was just, I just enjoyed having that. And I think with my parents, I think even with my mum, we still have that door's always open, whether friends, families, people just turn up. Some people didn't even know who they were, would just be at the house. So it was just that fun environment every time.
And there was 3 of you though, in terms of the actual siblings. You've obviously got your older brother Bevan as well. What was the dynamic like between you, Stefan, and Bevan?
Yeah, we've always been pretty close.
Are you the archetypal middle child?
Yeah, I am what those, second child, a bit naughty. Yes, that was me. But at some stage, I don't know, it swapped around a little bit. Sometimes I'd be with Steph or with Bev, but most of the time that I remember growing up, my older brother and myself would gang up on Steph because he started to get slightly bit muscular, a bit bigger than us. So I remember a few times we would bully him. Or I would go with Steph and bully my older brother, so it worked well for me in both cases. But yeah, no, we've always had a close, sometimes maybe too close, where it kicked off a lot. But it's more in competitiveness. We wanted whatever we did, you needed to win. So yeah, it did turn a bit vicious a few times. But then, we got over it within seconds because it's one of those, look, I've hurt you, you're bleeding, but tell mum you fell down the stairs by accident or something else happened so that we didn't get in trouble. So we knew we had that understanding if it went too far, so we got on really well.
Yeah. What were you like at school and things like that?
It was really bad. To the extent my mum was on first name basis with every teacher. She knew all of them. She was up there a lot at school. For me, I wasn't the best at sitting still or even just shutting up, I think, or just taking, being told off. So yeah, she was up there a lot. I did get in a lot of trouble in class, I think more because I didn't really understand what was going on. Maybe I was slow, but I found it really hard to sit and concentrate. As I've realised, I'm getting older, I'm more of a learner by doing things, or if you show me, and instead of trying to work it out myself.
Yeah.
And at that time, now that I look back, yeah, that's probably where I needed more help. And so I would lose, you'd lose me in a classroom after 10 minutes, probably attention. And I was, I think, an attention seeker as well.
Last time we spoke, you described yourself, you could be like a nasty little kid sometimes.
Yeah.
Taking balls away and all sorts of things.
That's what came from it, that attention thing, wasn't it? You wanted to be noticed. I think I liked, whether it was good or bad, I wanted to be involved with everything. I wanted to play in all the teams. I wanted to be, the leader. I wouldn't like to get picked last. If you're going to pick me last, I'm not going to play. And you're not going to play either. So it was, I was a bit bad on that side of it, but I know why now. Because they didn't pick me first. So
you can even go through the logical steps of it. So yes, that nastiness was totally deserved. I think the first time we came across your family was you moved to, your other brothers did move to Brixham. Quite a sort of your mum made quite an impression, I think, on her. She's familiar. She was kickboxing, I think, at the time as well. She brought a Caribbean restaurant to Brixham in South Devon, which is like another thing as well. So she must have been an influence character-wise as well on you. Yeah,
she's always been like that fun mother, always smiling, always having a good time, always wanted to to go and have a laugh. And yeah, when she decided, because at that stage they've moved back from the south of France, living in the French Riviera. And I remember the first thing, because I'd moved back to England before them. So I was with London Irish. I was living in Sunbury, in Teddington, sorry. And when I went down to visit them the first time, as you're driving in, you'll know as me, coming towards Brixham, where it splits, you go to Torquay or Brixham, there's a big roundabout there. And it said English Riviera. And I remember reading that thinking, while it was raining and cold and what the weather was, this is not the Riviera that I'm thinking of. But yeah, went down to Brixham, at the end of wherever it is, because after Brixham there's nothing, is it? Just falls off the cliff.
You've got to want to go there.
Yeah.
Through road.
Yeah, I actually didn't mind it from living here in London. I didn't mind. Very quiet, everybody knows everyone, very hilly. I walked up to the club, very hilly. But yeah, she decided that, she wanted to, as she's cooking for already 7 of us in the house, why not have a restaurant and cook for more people? And everyone did want to taste their food. Did one that used to come around while we were eating, our friends and family. They would just turn up while dinner's on and help themselves, which, she loved. So in the end, got the restaurant. Obviously, my stepdad, the big help, he sat at the front, making sure, the computer, the drinks were being served. And, everyone kind of got involved. My younger brother started working. My sister started helping her out in there. And it was, working really well. Even people now ask me why did they close it down. And, I can't even answer that, because she actually seemed quite happy in there in the kitchen. I know it's a lot of work, hours that she was doing, but it is something she loves doing, cooking. And, I remember when we all kind of left the house bit by bit, she was still cooking. She thought there was 7 of us there. So there was always leftover foods that, you would, so I'd always be taking, Tupperware down there to put in my freezer to make sure I'm stocked up as well.
Let's fill in a few gaps there. So you went from Trinidad, you moved to Sunbury first? From Trinidad, we moved to London.
Okay. So my stepdad at the time was working for Financial Times in the city. We lived just up Ladbroke Grove, in between Ladbroke Grove and Portobello Market.
Yeah,
it's called Blenheim Crescent, just by the Elgin pub. And so we lived there, I think, for 2 years. So I went to school in Holland Park. That's where I wasn't very good at school. Then obviously I swam a bit as well from school. So Kensington, swimming pools in there. My uncle worked in a barbershop at the top of the hill, Ladbroke Grove, by Sainsbury's. So it was all, we all lived around there. And that's where I started, like I said, I continued the cricket stuff. So I played for Holland Park and then got selected to go to St John's Wood to play there for Middlesex, doing the MCC or whatever, the indoor training and stuff. So I did a few of that before I started playing rugby. Also, I kind of thought cricket was a bit boring, especially where I wanted to be an all-rounder. I started really well. I was number 3 bat. I would be bowling, and then I kind of moved down to number 6, and then I wasn't bowling sometimes. And like I said from the start of this thing, if I wasn't picked first and I'm not involved,
I love it as you're saying. Like, I like the fact we got this on video, because I can see your expressions where the hurt's still there. It's still there. It's still painful for when your cricket didn't work out either.
Yeah, I love all sports. And that's where, I was quite lucky. I think got it obviously from my mum, and I was, I'll be honest, I was naturally talented at things. The one thing I just can't get is basketball coordination. Everyone thinks like a rugby, I don't mind. Everything, tennis, bat sports, everything else. But I just couldn't get basketball, bouncing the ball, and shooting, I just couldn't. Wow. But in the end, so grew up there. Then from there, my stepdad got a job in the south of France, in Sofia and Sypolis. So now we moved over to Nice. At that time, just before I left the rugby, I've just got into it. So Sudbury was the first ever club I went to. That was near where Wasps were, I think, up there. I think Rob Andrew came in one time while we were training. Like, I didn't know who that was, but I remember watching him after that on telly. It was the early doors, I think in 93, 4, I think, when we were there, or even before. So I remember watching that, and then the training we used to do. So I really got into rugby. And then my dad decided, because I was kind of playing football for my school, I was captain as well for secondary school. Had a few trials there and there, never really made it. I started playing rugby. I went over to Richmond.
Yeah.
So we'd go from London on a Sunday, drive over to Richmond. He played on a Saturday for Hatfield. So we'd go to those games as well, and I'd watch him. He'd probably kill me for saying this, but I used to go and watch him play. He was playing number 8 for the team. I didn't realise until probably a few years ago even that he was playing for the seconds or thirds. I thought he was playing first team. I really thought he was. I really thought he was.
All that respect of those decades of daddom has gone down the drain.
Yeah, but he was playing number 8 position I couldn't understand anyway. So yeah, I couldn't figure out till later. But yeah, he used to take us. So he'd have his game on Saturday and take us on the Sunday to Richmond, where I've left Sudbury, where there's probably one team each age group, if that, to Richmond, and I was put in the D team. So they had so many kids in that age group, and they was all wanted for his A, B, C, D, and I was in the D team. I had to start off, and I thought, like I said before, I don't do D team like the bottom, like being picked last. So I found that like really like eye-opener, and I actually started to really enjoy it playing with them because I was scoring so many tries, like at that level, like I was, and then as I moved up, it was less and less, but I was still, even when I got into the A team, we used to go to tournaments and my dad would put bets on £1 a try, or, I'd come out of a tournament with like 16 tries, or, with Steph were competing and my old brother, and I know it was, again, there's one of those, right, he's quick, put him on the wing, fine.
Yeah.
And fine for me, because I
side hustle.
I hated contact as well, to be honest. I wasn't built for contact, so I loved it on the wing and I really enjoyed it. And what kept me into rugby was the friendships that I had as well.
Yeah.
And the touchline, people actually like clapping me like when I scored, and the parents going, "Oh, you played really well today." And that for me was like such a boost. I wanted to go every weekend. So I had to start behaving in school because my dad started seeing, he loves rugby. If you don't behave in school, you're not going to rugby on the weekend.
Yeah.
And that kind of helped my discipline up until I started being pro, as you know. But yeah, I actually enjoyed going like so much that I actually started like, not whether I was learning anything, I would behave in school. So yeah, it was an eye-opener. Yeah, like I said, I really love the camaraderie, like being around the boys, because he would drop us off there. Training's at 10 in the morning, but we're still there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, I just fell in love with I don't know about the game because I was still scared of contact, but the whole, camaraderie, or what happens, the family environment around it that I got at Richmond.
How long were you in France for?
France, we ended up, so we were quite lucky because I stayed there, I think, 5 years, which meant I was eligible to play for France. A funny story.
So about 12 till 6, or 10,
13 to about 17, 18 I was. Because I remember a funny story was like, because I didn't realise I could play for France, but I remember getting called up for England to go in the sevens, and it was in Singapore. And our first game was against France. And I remember the French coach, like we'd been there all week, you go there all week, and just before the game in the tunnel, he said, if you play free, you can't play for France anymore. I was like, why would you tell me that now? Like, and even though France were terrible in the sevens at the time, and after he said that, I thought, why would you even, that's a silly comment, like, and then we went out and I think we beat them by 30, 40, because at the time England sevens were probably one of the best in the world. So yeah, I didn't realise I could do the French.
I knew trials though, didn't you?
Yeah, I knew I could play for the school side, but the actual full, because I did the under 16s. So it goes from, they pick from the 100 top players down to 50, down to 30 or 25, I think, because I remember they put you in a room in Narbonne, and I remember I was rooming with guys like Yannick Nyanga and these guys, and I was in this group, and I was thinking,
Wow.
no idea what I'm doing there. They're all speaking. My French wasn't that good,
Yeah.
and I had no idea what was going on. And they would take us for these training days, and I remember they said to us, "Right, we're gonna go in the sea swimming, and you have to be able to swim 50 meters from that thing to there." And I was just like, I don't think we can swim that. And it was just random things like that, nothing to do with rugby. And I thought, but it was more of a fitness, and they were just using it as that. And they were doing and I just, like I said, couldn't understand much. My French wasn't that top yet, but the whole experience. And
How was
then
you swimming? How was you swimming?
I wasn't too bad. Like I said, I was in Kensington. I used to be in a swimming team, so I wasn't too bad. You
didn't know the tricks, didn't they? Did the French guys, weren't they doing it a bit different to you?
Well, there was a few I knew couldn't swim, and I knew they were walking, and they were just doing the movements. A few of those guys, I'm not saying names, but yeah, there was a few I knew were not actually swimming in that water. But again, I don't know what kind of training that was to do, but yeah, it was something different. So yeah, I went through all of that, and at the end of that, you get either picked for an academy team, or you that's your rugby over. And a lot of the guys either went through to academies like Narbonne, Bourgoin, Toulouse, and different clubs. I ended up going on tour with Richmond to Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji.
Yeah, they're known for their tours, aren't they, Richmond?
Yeah, Richmond, because it was Edwin Doran. Edwin Doran Travels. He was. I lived with him when I moved over. So after that tour, he said to me, "I think you can, make the England under-18s or England school." And I was like, "Well, I want to get back into rugby because I've missed it being in France." So I ended up moving back after that tour in his house in Teddington Park Road, and then I went to.
Your family was still in France.
They were still in France.
How do you deal with that out of interest? Because it feels like, you like the Richmond and the applause and the attention, and then leaving your family to go and live somewhere else.
Yeah, but again, I played with these guys growing up from 18 to 13. So I knew, and he was our coach then, and he was still the coach then. His son was captain. So I knew what I was going into. Like I wanted to play rugby, and he kind of sold me that dream that you can play international rugby for England.
Yeah.
And at the time I was 16, 17, and I wasn't really going anywhere. I didn't have any ambition. I didn't see myself, making these big academies and going through in France. I wasn't sure what was going on. And so I played really well on this tour, and he said, I think you could make it. So I came over, and we went to a few schools. Actually, I think one of them was Epsom College. I had a look around the room, and there was like talking scholar, or do you want to? And I had a look around, and I said no, because the boarding side of things in those small rooms, I couldn't do it. So I ended up going to Richmond College.
Okay.
I think I was one of the first college kids to go into the school setup, because I went to Carscroft with England schools, where at the time there was England clubs.
Yeah.
Where I should have been going through Richmond. So yeah, I went through as schools. I remember doing the trials at Castlecroft, coming back from France, freezing cold, south of France to Castlecroft, where the lines were made out of snow and horrible. But that was the first experience of actually the English, rugby schools and how it's worked. And
was it difficult coming in from that side? Because a lot of those players have been nurtured since they were probably 12,
right.
Put in certain schools, and it's like, right, we've identified this England player from the age of whatever, whereas you've kind of completely off their radar to a degree.
Yeah, that's right. And I didn't know that, because in France, most of us, you're from clubs.
Yeah.
You get selected. I got selected from playing for Nice. Yeah. It wasn't a school, because my school didn't play rugby in France. So most of us, the players coming through, are from clubs. So when I got there, yeah, it was like a shock. Like, these guys, you have to, from certain schools and all grammar schools, and I said, look, I still didn't understand it until when those teams got selected. There was an England schools, because they do a trial match or just a match, and then England clubs, and they played each other. And it was just then that I thought, oh, okay, so it's completely different. And then you go into school, you realise what the training regime they have, and the actual tournaments. I think it was called Daily Mail at the time, so I remember watching all of those. And the second year, I think Richmond made that tournament, where normally colleges don't go into it. And I think we made the quarterfinals. And then, yeah, from then on, it was just, yeah, rugby was for me. I thought the club was linked, the college was linked with Harlequins. But then they had someone that they said was better, slightly better than me, that they picked over me. One of my good friends, I'm not even going to mention him because you'll love it too much, Ugo. So he went into Harlequins, and I got picked up by London Irish through playing for Richmond first team.
Okay.
With Corin Palmer, who was also playing. He was a lock at Richmond.
He dodged a bullet. I mean, how many Champions Cups has he got?
Exactly. He understands that, but yeah, all through the years playing each other, through setups. But yeah, that's how my career started. Went through. I think Corin Palmer got to that end of that year academy manager with Toby Booth. Took me through. I think I was probably quite lucky. I think he was probably with his friends having a few drinks at one of the Richmond first team games after he retired, just setting up academy. I think I'd scored a hat trick and just thought, you know what, might as well give him a try. And yeah, never looked
Can't
back
be bothered
there.
to carry on looking. Just got space to fill.
He really had Topsy OG, had all the others. And you thought just one more and that would do. So yeah, I was quite fortunate through there, and that's how it all kind of kicked off.
Did you like being the outsider from that lot? Did you like the fact you were coming from a different background and a different way other than Wales, or were you?
No,
No,
not at all. I felt like an outsider. I didn't feel like I was accepted into the group a little bit. There's a few things that were happening, and yeah, a few guys did make fun that I was from a college and rough, like the way they were talking about it. And yeah, I didn't really feel that welcome for a while, even through all the setups under 20s, because everyone from the similar background, where schools or they've been together from your John Fishers or their Whitgift. Everyone was around there, and I'm Richmond College. It wasn't. Everyone was kind of, a bit offish about it, or could have been just me myself, the way I didn't feel part of it. But yeah, it's probably because I just didn't understand what was going on and how things worked, and it's probably myself getting into my own head. But at the end of the day, I wanted to be the best. I wanted to play. So that side of it, yes, I didn't feel like, but on the field, rugby's a team sport, and everyone kind of wants the same thing. So
was he one of your teachers or your head teacher wanted you to see a psychiatrist, and your dad it was not a good idea?
Yeah, he said no. I don't know why. It probably would have been a good idea, I think, at the time. When I look back now,
look, you've made money on a house.
Yeah, but I think I got worse and worse. My aggression. I think it could have helped a little bit, but then we started seeing it through the game. Someone about things like when you lose your head,
right?
Like what do you do? And I'm like, I'll get angry. Right, what you do is now spot an object in the crowd, and that object will release you, make you think you're angry. Don't be angry, and then. So I started smiling a lot when I played, and people thought I was just arrogant or taking a meg, or do you know what I mean? But it was just because I'd spot that and I go, oh, okay, yeah, I did lose my head a little bit there, get back into the game. So, but yeah, I did smile a lot, and because when I rewatched some of shows, I was always having a laugh because I enjoyed what I did.
Yeah.
And plus I had little things like that around grounds that I'd look for, or just to make me get away from, all right, you've made an error, let it go.
Something neutral in the work that you look for,
So yeah, I'd look for crazy stuff. Even hats, different colour hats, just different. But because you're fullback as well, you got time. Coaches might not like it, but you got time. You're looking around, you got time. And I did. I used to just. But do you know what I mean? I was always focused. I did work hard. People that understand, they think, these guys, when you lose. But I worked really hard in the week. That's why I was so confident on the weekend. Some see as arrogance, but I worked hard. I knew I'm a fullback. I'm not dropping a high ball. If there's a 2-on-1, if there's a 1-on-1 tackle, I've got to make that tackle. I know that kicker's left-footed. I know he step off his right. I would watch videos for hours and hours, and then I'd go train. With the guys tops with the back three, doing 1-on-1 5-meter channels and goal kicking with Salala with Mike Cat. Guys, I'd go and bother them. I remember the first time I was in the academy with Lanash and Conor O'Shea, one of the best fullbacks ever, and I wanted to play fullback. So our day off would be Wednesday, and Wednesday morning I'd knock on the window because he's working, he's upstairs now as a director of rugby. Can we do an hour kicking? And it's not only like, what made it even better, he was more excited than me that I'd knocked on the door. Kind of like, because he's in his suit and that, he's a director and he's there like working, and he had his boots ready, those Adidas Predators, right by the door, like every morning, like, and he's just waiting for me with that knock on the window, Sunbury in the stand. And like, I really enjoyed those times. He was teaching me those spiral kicks, how to jump the high ball, get your knee up, and I'm just learning from every Wednesday. So as much as people thought I was, I was confident because I knew I'd worked on those skills. I knew what I had to do, and I just enjoyed every minute, because the older guys used to say that, enjoy every minute because it goes fast. It goes fast. And you was like, mate, I'm 22, it goes fast. Then you get to 34, you're like, he was right.
Tell me about your London Irish. No, tell me about the Leicester, because that was your full starting debut, was Leicester or something?
Yeah, Leicester at home.
And tell me about who you faced and what happened there.
So yeah, Leicester at home, like really buzzing for that. It was my first ever cap when I got selected, because they were selecting a team by, I think, Wednesday. That's when it really hit the nerves. Now, Leicester at the time when I made it were world beaters. They were the top team in the Premiership. Your Martin Johnsons, Julian White, they were the best forward pack. And then not only the backs as well. So I was playing fullback. I remember Freddie Tuilangi was on the wing. Leon Lloyd, they had, Andy Good at 10. So this was the first game, and I remember the first kickoff, we kicked to them, they carry a little bit, Andy Good looks up, boom, puts a bomb straight on to me, a crossfield bomb. And Tulang, I'm not exaggerating it, I caught it, coming down, and he hit me so hard, because London Irish football pitch, I slid, I think, a good 10, 15 metres backwards. So I remember getting so like, get up, like Maple stuff, get up. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you called the mark, get up. And I was like, okay, you got to kick it now. But still, my head was still spinning. And I remember him going, welcome to the Premiership, like that. And I thought, who is that? Like, I was still dazed. And then I looked up and I saw the size of him again. And I think, that made him, it made him broke. Well, I called it before the ball even touched my hands. I think it was still in the air. But I was like in two minds because I had to jog back. And as I went back to fullback after kicking it out, which I probably made 2 meters next to me because I just want to go, I thought, I don't know if this is for me. He hit me so hard. But after that, every game I played after that is get an early touch because I'm really nervous before games. And if you get an early touch, catch a high ball or get hit or make a tackle or anything it is, you're in the game. And at fullback, it's hard sometimes because you don't get these touches, for a while. And that one bomb that you drop, guess what they're going to do from then on? They're going to keep bombing you. And I realised I had to catch that one. So, yeah, it was, like I said, I hated contact. And to get my first introduction to Premiership rugby was getting flattened. I'm sure a lot of people have been hit by him worse than me, but that was a good wake-up call for me to understand, yes, I did need to go in the gym, I did need to get bigger, I did need to get stronger and work harder, and yeah, from then on, it was no looking back.
And how soon did you start to think this London Irish group was a bit of a golden generation? Because, you know what you know. At what point do you think, we've got a decent side here that can do something?
It took a few years. Because we were fighting relegation for a few of those years down at the bottom of the table. So I think we got to, it must have been around 2007-8. I think we came into that season. I think I got my England cap on the back or off the back of that, 2008. So I think it was around that area we were building. Brian Smith had come in. There was some players coming in and out. New guys coming in, older guys retiring or moving on to other clubs. And that backline we had with myself, Solossi and Topsiojo, we just clicked. Mapasul, we had the power there, Ricky Flutie, Hewitt came in. And even, I think, the big one, coming in with the experience that helped out. And I worked a lot with was Mike Catt. He was brilliant for me. Just so one training session. We were playing and we kept going wide, and I was playing fullback, and I kept passing it. The pass was terrible every time, and I kept going, "Oh, sorry." My cat went to me, "Come here. Don't be sorry, be better." Now that has stuck with me my whole career. Even now when I play, don't be sorry, be better. So I've worked on that pass. I worked on it. So that don't be sorry, be better is make sure every time. And that stuck with me for years. Probably one of the best, because I thought my handling was fine. I just thought he needed to run onto Topsy in there, but it was obviously not as good as, I thought it was. And I just kept working on it, but that still stuck in my head every pass. And it still does now.
Because you got anything in your first was Pacific Islanders, wasn't it?
That was right, yeah. Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy one because I didn't initially get picked into that England set. I was Martin Johnson's first run. I think he'd come in for that autumn international, and I wasn't named in that squad. There was a few players above me. A few players had retired and moved on. Your Balshaws, your Robinsons. There's a few guys that had moved. So I initially didn't get picked until I got a phone call that I ignored because guys were rumouring around the club saying, "Del, you might get a call up. This guy's injured. This guy limped off last week. You might get a call up." So then you just knew it would be one of the guys messaging around phone calls. So I hung up on Martin Johnson a couple of times, and Toby Booth had to come in and say, "Mate, you need to pick that call up. That's Martin Johnson." So I was like, "Can you ring him back for me, please?" He was like, no. So I ended up ringing him back. He said, "You've got 15 minutes to get down and we'll start training." Brilliant. And I was Sunbury, so I drove down to Penny Hill, and I said, "I've got no kit. What do I do?" I was in my Fiat Uno as well. Old car. I drove into Penny Hill with that, and I had a few questions, a few eyes. What is that car doing here? Shouldn't be on the road, first of all. Got down there, and from then, it was just crazy. Like, just to be able to train, with the likes of these guys, Mike Taylor, Jamie Newton, all those guys you watch on TV, Josh Lucian, they're all in there, training. This is high level. This isn't your club session. This is everything structured out. And to come into that environment, again, I was, that's probably the word, that feeling, that nerves. It was almost like playing a game. I think I almost spewed up a few times as if, I'm playing a game, but this was just training. But it was a great experience for me. I was, very fortunate. I say fortunate. It was, there was a lot of injuries, and at the time I came in, I think there was no one else.
That's all you need.
I think, and that's what I said, a bit of luck, that's all, but be ready. And I was probably one of those, I was ready because I was in a great place at London Irish. I was disappointed that I wasn't in the squad. I mean, that year, I think I played 13, got injured just before the tours. That they went, I think, South Africa, they might have gone on tour. I was very disappointed. Then came back, started the season, and wanted to be in that squad. Wasn't in that squad again until we got a call up because there was an injury. When I got there, I still wasn't in the squad because I think one of the players went for an X-ray and found out he had a bone fracture in his foot. So then I was told on the Tuesday, "You'll be starting next week. Don't tell anyone because it's not general knowledge." Silly me, forgetting my mum's Caribbean, forgetting that she likes, her friends and that. So I went and told my mum first person, and I think the whole of Brixham knew before the weekend. But Martin, he expected that, and I guess, Jonas, they're not silly. They knew what was going on, and I think they knew I was going to play because there wasn't anyone else at the time. So it was one of those surreal moments. But I still didn't believe it until the week of the game. It was, I'm playing, but someone might come back. And
this was the start of an amazing period for you as well, wasn't it? In England, this was arguably your strongest period straight from there through to the Six Nations then. I felt really good, really enjoying it. I mean, after that first game, with all the nerves, playing at Twickenham, in front of the crowd, playing, just the whole experience. And, to get man of the match in your first cap as well, and Martin Johnson, saying it's probably one of the best, debuts ever seen. That for me was massive. Was it like having Martin Johnson as a coach? 'Cause it's a bit weird because there's a lot of coaches, who you wouldn't necessarily known as a player, but for someone like him who is, the most famous English player, arguably of all time, World Cup winner as your boss.
Yeah, yeah, that was for me. With him, obviously Johnny Wilkinson as well, like the two. But yeah, for me, Martin Johnson, just as the way he spoke. There's a few times before games, when he did his team talks. You want to go to war for this man. You know what I mean? I remember he did one team talk. It was against we were playing New Zealand, and he did a team talk on a Tuesday. And we thought it was the game next day. Like, luckily, Moody was there. Lewis Moody went, Jono, we're Tuesday. Because all the boys were like, the way he was speaking. And he was, sorry, lads, have a good day off tomorrow. And we'll catch up on Thursday and we'll go through again team talk. So, but he also understood, as a captain, like when he was, but I thought he was brilliant. Every game, his team talks and what we needed to do. Probably not as structured as other man, what we're going through. It's more, as a captain, he spoke. You almost wish that he was playing with you.
Yeah.
You almost wish that, he was running out as that captain. But then we had Lewis, who was next year as well, who was just as, influential. So I had him as a cap. So yeah, but having them two plus Johnny there, those leaders, I thought, it was
what
great.
What coaches did you respond to? What was the best way to get?
I need to be shouted at.
Okay.
I'm one of those. I'll show you.
Right.
I wouldn't go into my shoulders. I'll show you, not. Oh, he doesn't like me. Oh, tell me I'm doing wrong. Tell me I'd rather that, and look in the eye as well. I'm one of those. I don't shy away from it. So I know a lot of players that do. They need an arm around the shoulder. But yeah, I was, tell me what you need to tell me.
Who got the best out of you?
I think probably Brian Smith.
Okay.
With London Irish and then England. I think Bernard Laporte wasn't too bad. Him and Pierre Mignoni as well.
What sort of tactics did Bernard Laporte do with you?
He'll drop you straight away, or ask you who you think you are. Do you think you're Maradona? A few times he's asked me. He's like, he will get straight into you, like he'll cut you, like but he understood that got something out of me. So Pierre was Pierre, if you watch any of the French games, you can hear the touchline from your house, him screaming down the mics. So yeah, we got on really well. So, but yeah, if I had to go one of the tops, I mean, Toby Booth was brilliant for me at London Irish, just with that control and, how to go through stuff. But yeah, if I had to say someone that would, just know where to get me on that, I think, that Brian Smith at the time.
Bernard Laporte was also always had the option of buying someone new as well.
And that's what the difference was. So that was probably more on fear that I probably got better and actually didn't shy away from it, because, you could be gone on the Monday. It was literally like a football, like if you don't perform, they would bring in other players, and they did. I mean, I remember they brought in James O'Connor, then they brought in Leif Halfpenny, then they brought Drew Mitchell, and at the end I moved fullback, wing, but I was still on the field because with those scream, whatever, I'd back it up, and he loved it. If you look through the 4 years I was there, I was involved with every single, final games from quarters to semis. I was involved with all of those games. So there was actually, I think they liked that, those French coaches, the actual, oh yeah, I know I've got to him, because I could see his eyes. He's staring at me like he wants to kill me. So I've got to him. And he loved that. And what I really enjoyed about Bernard as well is, as much as, people outside see him as this coach that shouts, and which he is, and once he goes through that gate or away from the stadium, loveliest man in the world. Loveliest man, he'll used to buy us drinks out. He's lovely, he'll look after the players. You can go and have a chat with him. But once you come into the change room through the gate, and he's watched a video of you not doing well, he will let you know that as well, that in your face, in front of everyone. So I think he was very good man management as a coach, and I think, people will say, oh, you just had a good team and great players. Yes, but he managed us really well. Some of the top players he had to drop. Now, that's a tough thing to do, dropping, Bastero or these guys, they didn't like it. So he got the best out of all of us.
I want to come back to Toulon, but because there's so many more stories to cover on that one. Let's go back in the chronological order. So after that Six Nations, obviously then it was the Lions, wasn't it? You just got got through to the final, which was like amazing for London Irish. Narrow loss, 10-9, I think it was in the final. And then the next thing was Lions. And having gone from not even expecting to be in the England side, suddenly with the Lions, you were like really hotly tipped, weren't you? Everyone was sort of in the press. I remember being involved and people were talking about you being part of the Lions as, you know.
Yeah. You know, to be honest, I wanted to. I was seeing my name put out by a lot of pundits. A lot of people putting my name in that started 15. So when it actually got announced that I wasn't even in that squad, yeah, it did shake me a little bit. But then I also realised it was only my first year international rugby. So I'll be straight up honest. I was really like gutted about it. But I've still also got selected for the England touring team to Argentina. So at that stage, as much as it bothered me, I still have got to play for my country. You know, for England, I still got to wear that shirt. And there's probably like we were playing at Old Trafford, I think, the week after that, when that came up a few weeks later. But, you know, not to let that go. Yeah, I still now, when people ask me about it, I still talk about it. Yeah, it did like hurt me a little bit not being involved at all as well. I mean, I was on the reserves and there was a few back three injuries and I didn't
Got injured, no.
I think Byrne and Lee, I think, was there. They were both injured. They went and I don't think they played much. I think then Carney played really well. I think Mike Quaid, I could tell you all the names because I was watching it hoping for that goal and never got it.
Little voodoo doll.
Yeah, I could tell you everyone who went through and yeah, I mean, look, it didn't make it. It, you know, and that's good. And that's what made me the player I am. I want to be involved in things like that. I want to be one of the top. I want to reach the pinnacle, which is playing for the Lions, and you know, trying to win a tour. You know, it didn't happen, and then I, you know, went on to play for against Argentina. You know, I had one of the best managers, John O'Dea, put shoulder, and he said, you know, he believed I should have, and that's enough for me. You know, one of the best players, managers, coaches, captains in the world told me he believed I should have been there, and I had to take that. And you know, I played in that game. Apparently, there's rumours saying that wasn't quick enough. They didn't think, and then I scored a 90-metre try against Argentina at Old Trafford, and it still wasn't good enough, so it probably wasn't that reason. But yeah, look, no one deserves that, and look, they picked who they thought was the best at the time, and you know, I just, you know, you just got to move on with it. Yes, be disappointed, never accept things, but yeah, at the time, it just wasn't my time, I guess.
Obviously, there's a few bands over your course of your career. Like, when you look back at those, what ones stand out? Because like, you know, there was a handful of them. There were some of them were quite long. Some seem ridiculous. What stands out for you when you look back on those?
Yeah, there's a few that I just felt, I was straight up, I just felt I was a bit like a scapegoat. I think there's the one that really stand out to me was what happened. And, you know, I missed a few games with England because with the drug tester thing. I think I was, you know, the advice I got was terrible. And I'll go back and I'll from the club.
What happened?
So what happened? Exactly what happened was we played Bath on New Year's Day. We just gave away a penalty last minute for them to kick a penalty to win it. And I remember, I was fuming, so I shook a couple and darted towards the tunnel to go back in. As you walk down the stairs at Reading, you know, the away changed on the right and I was on the left, and I've kind of gone through. And as I was about to open the door to our change room, I feel someone pull me from the back, and I've got to use some words, get off. So now this comes in on Tuesday. Someone's won, you know, there's been a allegation that you've swore at someone and you've assaulted the drug test. And I was like, did I? Really didn't think anything of it. So the club are telling me, okay, they want to take this tribunal, you need to go and you need to, so ordering I said, well, not guilty because I didn't do anything. I don't remember doing, like, instead they've got this. I well, great then. Then I'd say, well, no, you've got to plead guilty because you'll get doubled if you're found guilty. And they started making some about it. There's the Olympics coming up. If you get in trouble, this could be a year's ban. And I was like, I don't want a year's ban, but I didn't do anything wrong. Anyway, apparently, so we get there and I was told I need to plead guilty, otherwise. and then I get 8-week banned. I remember standing in there, and I even asked the guy, like, is this really what like happened? Is this what you really want? And because I was like, I've explained what had happened. If I'd seen basically what happened, he missed his chance. You're supposed to attract the player and catch them from the front.
Yeah,
Once we see them and acknowledge it, that's it. We follow him.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
Again, like everyone's saying, well, you should have do it backwards. Well, what did you like? I've lost a game. I'm heading to the change room, like to calm myself. Stay or get away from the. And then I get all the, well, it's a gentleman's game. You should have stayed out and shook everyone's hand. You should have done this. You should have done that. Maybe, but that one for me like really hurt, because this is an old man. He's 60+ years old, and it's going round that I've assaulted someone trying to do their job. Because I had to plead guilty, where I was going, I can't, because that's going to start like, and in the end it did. Like, so I had to sleep with that. But that was. There's a few other stuff when I was younger, and I said like undeservedly, some cheap stuff that I did that, when I look back at what were you doing, what were you thinking, like something like cheap, whatever it was. And I always say to people, I was probably over sometimes too far, like, because I was always up for it. I wanted to, win, and I wanted to obviously. I'm not a sore loser, but I wanted to put best for. I wanted our club to do better. I wanted us to, and sometimes I got it wrong, and I think that's the nature sometimes of this sports. When you're going 100 miles an hour, and a head collision or whatever it is, no one's out there to hurt. You want to like make a dominant tackle. You want to make sure you're doing your job, catching high balls and that. But it stays on the field. But at that time, I think it started to change because social media was coming out a bit more and more every time. So everyone got to have their say as well about things and what they thought about people. And and it was more the papers that were giving me. I remember I woke up one day, Bad Boy of Rugby was on one of the paper and a picture of him, and I thought, back in the day I would have liked it. I guess any press is good what they say, but to see that, I was like, yeah, that's not what I want to be known as in the sport. And the problem is, once you put your name out there for something like that, for anything, it's hard to get away from it. But I'm one of those. I own it. You know what I mean? It is. I did it. It was wrong. If it was wrong, it was wrong. And you try and move on, and it is what it is. But I'm a competitor. I want to win. Sometimes maybe too much. But that's what you don't have more than 15-year career because nobody likes you in clubs now, because you'd be vanished, wouldn't you? Yeah. People don't hold on to guys who are just gonna not help the team progress, and they're just, you know what I mean? If you're banned all the time, if you're not, performing, if you're not a team player, you don't have a long career in this game. So there must have been something that somebody liked in there, or the boys. So I guess, that one probably sticks out still.
The Leicester one's funny because you told Brian Moore then to go and write another shit book. Was it something like, I can't remember. I'm paraphrasing.
That was the Heineken Cup final when I waved at a player before scoring. Now, I'd seen it done before by a friend or someone had done it before. So when I did it, it wasn't because it was him or I don't know, it was something stupid again, reaction. And silly me went into the change room, and the first thing I did was go on social, and I saw that from Brian. There's a few other players as well, but I saw it from Brian, and the worst thing I could was reply, and I did at the time. Like,
had you read his book?
No, I didn't know he had a book. So, but I meet Brian all the time now, and we're good. Like, he said to me, he said, we had a bit of an issue, didn't we, on the social? I was like, no, but you did, and then I kind of,
He's great, Brian.
But we get on really well. We do a lot of stuff together on the weekends, and we get on well. Look, there's respect us as well from the game, and no matter what he said, this guy, what he's achieved, what he's done for English rugby, and I've got to respect that as well. And the best thing I could have done shut up, let it go. Do you know what I mean?
It's still a better story that you didn't.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I got a lot. It was in every paper as well. I didn't realise that they would have picked that out of that social at the time. Well,
They're
probably.
looking for it. I think that
Yeah.
you were kind of in this sort of this pre-character era where we are now, where everyone's looking for the characters. Suddenly they're saying, right, after years of telling these rugby players to do this, do this, do this, where's the characters? It's because you told this whole generation of people to do this. Whereas now every character is celebrated.
Yeah,
whereas you were different.
Yeah,
So it was like, how are we going to find a way? And they weren't used to you. So and it sounds like you were always had that at every stage of your career, like because of the way you came in all the way through.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, because I see stuff now that I think I've done that before, and no one's saying anything, and you know, guys are getting away with stuff, and it's good. At the end of the day, look, it's an entertainment arena, isn't it? Sports. We're entertaining the crowd. You know, we want to, but also respect your opponents, respect the other team, and but again, it's competitive sport, and you know, I liked having fun with it, and there was no disrespect to anyone, teams, fan, anyone. It was just the way I kind of enjoyed myself, and it's probably because in my head I was probably playing my brother and that, and it's just mocking them and that, and it's probably gone too far. But yeah, it was. Look, I've never ever meant anything by anyone. Most of the guys that I have, if I offended them or didn't, like we speak still, and you know, it's on the field, isn't it?
You know, with England as well, you also, Stefan went to Toulon before you. So you stayed on because of that, whereas Stefan went, like, how, did you guys talk about England, like, and how you want to progress and where it was in your priorities? How come he went before you did?
So I think Steph got into, I mean, it's probably not my place to say, a bit of thing, bother with London Irish. He'd re-signed, then he wasn't playing much. And coming into a World Cup year where he knew guys like Moody and these guys were probably going to get picked out, Tom Word. So he was in a situation where he probably realised he might not make that England squad. And so then he also wanted to be starting for London Irish and believed, you know, he's playing well. And, you know, we all did. Obviously, it wasn't on the coach's mind at the time. So they kind of had a little bit of a issue with the coach, and the coach gave him an option. Look, if you find a club, you can go. And he ended up finding Toulon, a club that can afford to, because he just signed a 3-year contract. So in the end, he had to make a decision. I personally wanted him to stay to try and still, you know, I don't think he would have been in that squad with the guys that were ahead of him, with Moody and Mulos and other guys that were, you know, especially as captain, like there's a few guys above of him, and they weren't really happy with certain physical stuff, I should say, his body or whatever. But yeah, he was pretty devastated about it. But then when Toulon came, they needed someone to replace George Smith, who was his idol. He probably would have liked to play with him instead of replacing him, but, you know, ended up going to Toulon, and I thought, got even better, do you know what I mean, as a player. And you know, he got them that year, I think, to 2 finals. So I wanted to play for England, and it wasn't just to stay for the World Cup, it was to stay even probably beyond that as well. Things happened that I was in my last year contract. After that World Cup, Martin Johnson got released, Lancaster came and see me, had a chat, told me, you're not in my 30-man squad. You and Tuilangi had a great tournament, it's come back to feedback, you guys have done well at the World Cup, but you're not in my 30-man squad. I know you're in your end-of-year contract, what are you going to do? I'm going to ring my brother and see if Toulon need a fullback.
You literally said that?
Pretty much, yeah. Because at the time, negotiation with London Irish wasn't going as well as I wanted it to, and it would have helped if I was in the 30-man squad for the club and me, and it didn't. And yeah, I was 29 at the time, really disappointed with our performance in the World Cup and myself again. Like, I wasn't happy. I felt I needed a break, and I couldn't go to another club, Premiership club. I didn't feel, you know, London Irish looking after me from academy, I didn't feel it would be right.
Yeah.
Not that I had offers, or I didn't know from my agent, never told me. And Toulon
coming
straight away.
I tell you any other offer, is
They
he?
went straight away. Yeah, Toulon was so we'll have him. So
Do you ever regret that? I know it's hard not to if you look at the thing, but at that particular time,
no,
you ever think no?
no, and not even now. Like I said, like we first started talking, I want silverware. I want trophies. I want someone to look, to look back on to say I got something. I do look back and see, would I've got many more caps? It would have been a great competition between myself and Mike Brown going for the shirt. But I thought he was brilliant when he came in. And he deserved as all the caps he got. That run, I thought he was excellent. We had a lot of battles.
Age as well.
Oh, I loved it. Me, myself, like the games, we would talk to each other a lot. And
did you and Foden get on? Because you were rivals.
Got on with Fodes. Fodes was a very quiet guy. He was more, I think he was scrum half, then he moved into forward. I was wing, so he was back through. Yeah, we got on really well. We knew that competition was there, but we never really played against each other. Or we might have done, but it wasn't Harlequins London Irish. Myself and Mike Brown, which I really enjoyed, and I was glad. I never gave up the shirt, but that he replaced, like he took that shirt and he made it his. Martin Johnson, that's the first thing he said to me. Look, there's a shirt there. You're into it. It's up to you to make that yours. You got one opportunity here to make that shirt yours, and no one else can have it. Why? And I think he did that, as well. So, I left it in good hands. I do. That's probably the one thing I always think about. Could I've, got back into that England squad and made a. But to make caps, that's I want to win. I want to push forward. And Lancaster obviously didn't see me in his new setup. I think he had a lot of those guys in the Saxons at the time, so he kind of knew what he was building. So I had to. I'd only signed 1 year to come back. I was 29, and after winning the Heineken Cup the first year and getting offered another 2+1 year with Toulon, yeah, it was for me like a no-brainer. And I wanted more. I wanted more silverware. I wanted, and if you can't win, Six Nations or Lions will a World Cup with England, the next best thing, I guess, is a Heineken Champions Cup, and to do it 3 times in a row with that club, win the double for Johnny when he retired, and just playing with those guys as well, to have your name when you see stuff next to these guys, it's just amazing. Like just to see, what we achieved, because that 4 years, 4 years we were. Up at the top table. We were always competing for something. But again, when people say how you must have been having so much fun, yes and no. It's like playing international every week, with an international team every weekend, because I said you want to earn the respect of the guys above you. You can't let yourself down, or the coaches, or you're gone. So, but then you enjoy yourself after winning.
Well, what's it like?
We did enjoy ourselves.
First arrive there, though, because again, we keep talking about you, this outsider thing. You've got to be an England international, and then suddenly you're with World Cup winners. You again, theory out of your depth here with these players. What is it like? How did they deal with you? They're a bit further along their careers than you as well.
Yeah, it was tough. I think my first meeting was with, because I'm sure it was when my contract was first negotiated, was with Philippe before he left, I think, went to France, and Bernard was kind of like, we've already got a back 3 with Rooney and Benjamin Appiah. We don't really need you. You can go if you want. We're looking at someone else. And I just looked at him again. That's where my competitive came up. I will be your starting fullback, I told him. This is the first conversation I've had with this coach. I will be your starting fullback when I looked at the others. Because again, I did my research. I looked at the players. I looked what they provide and what I can. And I knew for a start, I was a goal kicker. They weren't. I knew that I've done. I'd been playing international. They hadn't. I've just come from the World Cup. So for me, I was full of confidence and I was ready to go. And when he said that, I was like, I will be starting first game. And he said, well, I don't know if you'll be starting even the friendly. And in the end, the guys had come in late because they'd made a finals the year before. So I had to play, and ended up playing really well with Palisson and David Smith, and we had a good combination. So I ended up starting the first game, and he ended up kind of liking me a little bit, that little French side of me, I would say, the aggressiveness. And in the end, ended up re-signing. And even what I really appreciated from him when he was leaving and I was there, I said, if you'd stayed, would you have re-signed me before I went to Lyon? And he said 100%. And that again, you know, that respect for someone like, you know, Bernard Laporte, that you could see if he doesn't like you, you're gone, or he's very, you know, straight up. And that for me, you know, that will stay for me forever. Like, so yeah, it's hard to have regrets when, you know, you achieve something like for 4 years with one of, you know, these top managers, director, and they say they would have, you know, they would have kept you in that team if he was still there.
What were they like off the field, all the stars, all the World Cup winners? So the South African, for instance, backies?
You get your backies, a few of the guys, they kept to themselves. Backies was like, so when I first got there, he was my neighbour. And obviously didn't really speak any French. Rings me up and he said, Dylan, can you come pick me up? Take me to the butcher's. And I was like, it's just down the road there. He said, no, come. And so we had a fence. It was his house, my house, and I think Craig Burden. So our gardens.
Yeah.
I was like, Bucky's, no. He said, come. So I went, drove around to pick him up. He didn't even walk over the grass. Picked him up, took him to the butcher's. He was like, tell him I want this much sausage. I was like, I think he can see, like, and he said, the guy was going, okay. He said, no, tell him. I was like, he understands you this way. He said, look, tell him, just, okay. I was like, oh, he wants this. And I was like, let's just play. Anyway, drove him back to his house and then drove back to mine. And then I thought, I could see him heating up the barbecue. And I was like, right, I'm going to go get some beers, get a couple of merguez as well, some breads. I thought, yeah, lovely. So I sat in my garden, opening the can, just waiting for them to call me over. It was him, Ryan Smith, all the boys, all the South Africans, speaking Afrikaans, bit of English, barbecues flying, a few beers going. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting an invite. Second beer, looking around, and like, he's kind of like waved, and I thought, is that a come or it's just a wave? Wasn't sure. Stayed there. I'm saying one of them will walk through the gate. I said, Dylan, come or something. Nothing. Fourth, nothing. Then I was just like, all right. Went in, closed the shutter down, fuming. Next morning, brings me, Dylan, can you pick me up, take me to training? I was like, no, you guys train early. We're not training till 10. That's fine. You can go. You can come back. It's fine. Just come, take me training. So I was like, okay. I took him to training. And I was like, sitting in the car, I said, Bucky's, like, what happened yesterday? He said, we was having a barbecue. Why didn't you come? I said, because you didn't invite me. He said, no, Dylan, listen, man. In South Africa, we don't invite, man. You just come. You just come. And I was like, what? So I sat there, literally, I'm not lying, for an hour, 15 minutes, just waiting for the nod, come. And it was...
That's a sad story.
I was very sad. I reckon, I'm not sure what film I watched after that, but it was... I really hated him at that time until he said that in the morning. I went, idiot. And then I said to the other South Africans, is this true? Like, Daniel was like, if I just come, I said, why didn't you? You just sat there drinking on your own. That's silly.
They just think you're a loser.
That's it. So, yeah, that was my story. But yeah, he was great with me. Like, you know, from the first day we got there, we played our friendly. We went over to an island to all socialise, drink together. And I've got loads of pictures with these guys. We're just all together having a laugh, and you just wouldn't expect to, do you know what I mean? You think, he's angry, I need to stay away from him, or that guy doesn't look. But yeah, everyone just got on from the first day. I don't know if it's being in the sun, south of France, but it just clicked at that team. So
finally, like, when you look at your family, it's not just Stefan. Bevan played champ rugby as well, and Guy's playing at Bradford in the league as well. And Joel was a very good player as a kid as well. What do you think it is that's made you all so good at rugby? Is it just the fact there's all of you there? So there's always different generations that can push each other on, because we're different styles of players as well. It's not like you've got the two Alangis where it's like, right, we've got a set of genetics there that's going to work across the board. Yeah,
I think we were all different positions, weren't we? I think Steph started as a scrum half, and then he played centre, then ended up as a flanker. Guys always played centre wing. Bev was a centre wing as well. Myself, fullback, wing, centre. So yeah, we've all kind of played. And then Joel, I think, played prop or number 8. So he's also played out. I think he went to Richmond for a bit. So yeah, we're all different. But I think it's just, I mean, the younger ones, Guy, Joel, you know, they watched us play, so they've grown up kind of getting into rugby because probably the older brothers were playing, but they also enjoyed it. I think it's just, the friends we made out of, these guys, I know Joel, my youngest, made a lot of great friends out of that rugby, that Brixham team that he played for. They're still friends now. Guy, the same, ended up, probably not doing as well as he would have wanted himself in Union, so ended up moving to League, and he's enjoying that now. Bradford will have just got put back in the Super League, so hopefully, he'll get a bit of a run out there. Bev, he got up to the Championship. I mean, I feel sorry because he, had a bad injury to his knee, which probably, put him out, in earlier days in his career. But, he had a great Championship career, different clubs that he's moved to. And then, myself and Steph, he's actually followed me all the way through, hasn't he? He left Saracens, followed me to Irish, and he would say, I followed him, but he wanted to, and then we played England together. So, really enjoyed actually being on the field with my brother. We also won the sevens together, myself, Guy, and Steph. We won the Middlesex Sevens with London Irish. So that was a, great achievement. And then who knows, maybe one day we can all, go on a pitch together, but pretty much starting, I think for me, this could be the last at my age.
Well, look, thank you very much for sharing your story. Absolute pleasure. And not least give me another story to get Brixham into this podcast, which I manage to do virtually every single week. But yeah, thanks very much and good luck with the rugby.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Delon. Thank you.